All right. We'll begin today's media scrum with the swimming team, Coach Mickey Wender, Sophia Bains, and Dejan Urbanek. Coach, a big meet coming up the week starting tomorrow. But before we get to that, maybe kind of a quick recap of a couple weeks ago with the split squad duels of you and Colorado State.
Tough losses, but important experiences for us. I think both teams going on the road in, I won't go so far as to call it a hostile environment, but a challenging environment, I think taught us a lot. Um, the men bringing it down to the last relay really challenged us and challenged all the guys, but we lost at the very end to a better team, and same with the women. But it's important because we do so much at home that we get on the road and we get uncomfortable in those kind of environments. So I'm really happy with where we're at. I thought those two meets were important for us.
We reference it, big CMU Invitational this week, getting a chance to compete against some more Division One opposition as well as Colorado School of Mines. This meet over the years has been critical and importance to the team's success as you kind of gear towards it as the end of the first half, if you will.
Mhm.
What are kind of the thoughts and team prognosis heading in?
I like where we're at. We're going to learn a lot. I think if we can get a lot of cuts, that gives us options for the second half of the season. And so that's always sort of an underlying theme, but not something we talk about a ton because we don't want to put a lot of pressure on people or get this notion that if they don't hit a qualifying standard, and you know how goofy the selection process is in Division II swimming, we're pretty conservative with our estimates of what we think it's going to take to get in. But we don't want people overly focused on that. It's more, where are we? Where are we collectively as a group? Where's each athlete individually? And and use that information. That's the critical piece, right? Is where are we? What have we done well? What do we need to improve on through the next part of the season? And it really goes quickly. Once we get back from Thanksgiving, it's just a whirlwind to finals, and then we go to Vegas, and then we come back, and it's 4 weeks of training, and then a rest and taper and shave, and we go to the conference meet. So the bulk of the work is done, and we need to see where we are. So that's sort of I guess, the overview, the 30,000-foot view.
Sophia, a veteran of the squad in your third year here, a senior on the team. You've been kind of through this before. What do you take from those experiences, both at meets like this as well as conference and national championships? What do you take into that to kind of help your younger teammates?
I think this meet and other like big longer meets are really good training experiences. This one especially is a good chance to learn more how to swim well in a long 3 or 4 day meet. We haven't had a chance, like, this is our first long prelims final meet, and it's a really good opportunity to push ourselves and see what we're capable of.
Dejan, kind of similar question for you, a veteran on the squad, and coach has mentioned that this team kind of going to have a lot of different leaders, you being one of them. How do you help the squad as a whole?
Yeah, I think that definitely that me and Sophia are seniors. The experience help us, but these meets are never easy. You always need to stay locked in. It's a 4 day meet, 7 sessions. It's a lot on everybody, no matter what events you're doing. And I think that we just need to focus on, as coach said, we are here to see where we are. Like, we need to set our goals to do our best and to see where we are, execute every race, and just race fast people. It's not just about the times, it's about the experience and going to the nationals.
For any of you, we mentioned especially kind of last year the chance to compete against the Division I squads and get that racing experience and being pressed all the way to the wall. You've seen some of these teams already or in previous years. What kind of does that do for the psyche going into the rest of the season?
I'll go first. I have a lot of respect for these teams. You know, I've talked about Wyoming and what they've been through, you know, with a real tragedy befalling their program last year and the way they've rallied and their women's team especially. I mean, they gave us everything we could handle. They crushed us in that dual meet. They're in a really good spot. Their guys it was a big deal for our men to beat them, and we haven't had sort of a seminal win, hang our hat on the way we did against Wyoming. So that just felt so good, you know, and we let the guys celebrate. NAU is, you know, they're an amazing program, perennial conference champ, and their coaches are good friends, and so they're going to help us. And you know, like I mentioned last year at the NCAA's, that overwhelming feeling I had was gratitude for these teams like the Colorado States and Wyomings and NAUs and Air Forces of the world that are willing to swim us and willing to take our best shots and help us grow and to develop into the type of program we're capable of being. And so Utah being here and even after we beat them, you know, a month or two ago, I think them coming back, we're very, very grateful for the opportunity, and we'll race hard and we'll learn a lot, but we appreciate these teams for sure.
Sophia, you've grown up in a swimming family, brothers and sisters competing, being at several big meets, either as a fan or cheering them on or competing yourselves. How does the environment of our
Can I
home pool?
interject before she answers? Because
Certainly.
Sophia Bains is the fifth of six children. All four of her older siblings, and now she's the fifth to have swum collegiately in Division II, which is pretty unique. You want to hear an evangelist for Division II swimming? You talk to Sophia's mother, and she'll explain why it's the greatest thing in the world. But anyway, I thought that background would be helpful.
Yeah. Along those lines, just kind of how does our environment, home pool for a big meet like this and conference in February, how does that kind of stack up from what you've seen throughout your life in swimming?
Yeah, I think our environment is really good. It's really fun at these big home meets. We have a lot of energy on the pool deck, and I think that transfers to meets not just on our own at our own pool, like at nationals, or other travel meets. I feel like typically we have a really good deck presence and a really good energy, and that helps us swim fast. It's really nice to know when you go behind the blocks that, like, just because you're swimming in your own lane, you're not alone. Like, you have 60 other swimmers cheering you on, and it's really fun.
Dejan, same question for you, and definitely a different background coming in, being an international athlete from Serbia.
Yeah, definitely. I never had anything like this back home. You know, back home swimming is more like individual sport. You're just swimming for the club. You're not swimming for like high school or any team. So like I remember my first A3 at the time invite 4 years ago now. It was something unbelievable when I was swimming my 5 free and I saw my teammates cheering me on with chairs and tables, and it was just something you cannot really describe with the words. When I need motivation for my swimming, I usually watch my old videos and just see how people react when I swim, because that really helps you. Because as Sophia said, yes, you're in your lane, but they're like pushing you. Like it just like feels like they're pushing you. Like they're your fin. You're swimming with them. They're there for you. You're there for them, and you spend most of your time with them. Like we spend more than 20 hours together. 20 swimming, but apart from that, we recover, we study together, we live together. I think our team has a very good bond.
I'll share it too. What I've observed in Dejan over the last year and a half, as he's taken more and more responsibility of coaching our young kids on the club program. Most of all of the coaches but one are CMU swimmers, and Dejan has one of the premier roles in that group, and you can just see and I'll say too, one of the things I really appreciate about this blue collar state college experience that we have is that our athletes, they get nothing handed to them. They earn every bit of what they get, including fundraising, half our budget. Every single one of them works at our pool and they take care of the people that swim there. Sometimes they save their lives and they scrub that pool deck. And that sense of ownership when you're going crazy on a deck that you scrubbed that morning, I think it just adds even a little bit more. So there's 13 seniors on this team, and we'll have senior day on Saturday, and it's a goofy time to do it because a lot of people leave for Thanksgiving. But I can't say enough about how overwhelmingly grateful we are for those 13 seniors, and a lot of fifth years, a lot of people that just love this thing. Sorry.
So, you talk about, you obviously you want to get cuts, and traditionally in this meet, it's like, okay, there's another 14 cuts in this session and more in this session. The balance of, okay, we're learning how to deal with a 4-day meet to get ready for the RMAC, which is longer, and the Nationals, which is longer, and preparing mentally, physically, and expending energy cheering on your teammates. How critical is that to have a meet like this to teach, especially the young swimmers, how to take care of their bodies for down the road?
I think it's really critical. You really learn what you need to do to recover individually at meets like this. In like club meets, we don't have the same like opportunities to recover. We're lucky enough that at meets we can go and see our athletic trainer, or sometimes we have like a massage therapist. And so it's learning how to balance like cheering on my teammates, but I also, for my team, I have to recover. So learning how to cool down and how much you need to do and how much you can cheer on without wasting your own energy. It's really good to have this meet to learn that. So when you go to RMAC and nationals, like the stakes are even higher.
I want to piggyback on that because NCAA and dual meets is like a unique format that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. And I think that most of us start learning things on those dual meets where we swim multiple events across like maybe 2.5 hours of the meet. And we when the meet starts, you're on it. You're going to race, you're going to warm down, refuel, whatever you need to do so you can perform in the next race. And honestly, I was thinking about it. It would be so fun if the dual meets were like, the scoreboard just shows the first three, doesn't show the time, because that's what the dual meets are about. They're about racing, getting your hand on the wall first, and just learning how to swim your race, learning how to recover. And then once we get to these longer meets, then we can focus on one event, but then you have multiple events across the day and you need to perform on each one of them. And as coach likes to say, it usually comes down to the last relay, and that's a 4x100 freestyle relay, which is the most exciting. And if you swim the first day and you swim the last day, you better be at your best on the last day. That's the goal. That's the expectation.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's such a fine line. It's like, I got to go sleep. I'm sorry, good luck in your race, but I've got to get sleep because I got to come back in an hour and race. But
it's a fine line. It's so
yeah.
funny because you may, when we went to NCAA's last year, our flight was canceled, as so often happens out of Grand Junction. And so we ended up having to take a red-eye flight. And our top backstroker, Agatha Nuskret, was exhausted when we got to the meet. And she swam slow on our 4x50 medley. Like, so much so where I thought, maybe I got to put Lauren White in there, somebody different. And I said, because you talk about that balance and that fine line, we're just going to sleep tomorrow. Skip the prelim session. She didn't have any events. That's unusual for somebody not to show up. So she slept like 14 hours and came back and won 2 national titles and set up those 3 relays that we won to win. 30 years ago as a coach, never would have, nobody's sleeping in, but we're all learning, right? And like like you said, that balance is really key of how much is enough, how much is too much. But you guys gave me the theme for our team meeting today. I think the more you give, the more you get. And I've heard both of them say that. I wasn't sure what I was going to talk to the team about. That's what we're here for.
Okay, this is what we came up with today. But are there some kids that maybe people might not have heard of that are getting into form and might be?
Nobody's
I
heard
mean,
of any of us. But Ben Vester, he's a freshman from Germany. He just sent me a text, and he will be exciting to watch. His buddy Richard Schmiedefeld from Germany, both two freshmen are really exciting. I think Grand Junction local Kendall Wilkinson, she's ready to bust out some big things. Aga is on a mission to break the national record this year, and I think she's primed to do it. This kid Harry Stacy, who swam in Paris for Ghana, he's better than we thought he was, and so he's a 24-year-old freshman, but he's gonna. I think his name's familiar to people because of the whole Olympics thing, but he'll be good. First time representing us.
Next week, Thanksgiving. So, question of the week: favorite Thanksgiving meal side dish?
Mine for sure is sweet potato pie.
Chicken pot pie, I would say.
They don't do Thanksgiving
Yeah,
in Europe.
we don't do Thanksgiving, and the first actually Thanksgiving was at Coach's house, and it's different, but I love that. I love that family comes together, and that's like a thing here. So
I like stuffing.
Thanks.
All right.
Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.